Trapper, I have no idea where it came from. I don't wear jewelry. I don't have jewelry in the house. I don't have anything in that bowl. And it's a decorative bowl that I walk past about 100 times a day. I've been thinking about this for 2 weeks.
Yeah. This is Touched by Heaven. Everyday encounters with God. Those moments when heaven and earth collide and we see God. We see His hand reaching out to us, attempting to get our attention, inviting us into a closer relationship. Here we share stories of encounter with angels, divine intervention, prophetic dreams, visions, near-death experiences, big and little God incidents. I'm your host, Trapper Jack. Welcome. What we have here is episode 155, Gifts from Nowhere. In fact, I'm wearing a gift from nowhere. I'll explain that in a little bit here. What I have is 3 listeners, 3 moments, 3 gifts from nowhere. From who? Well, the great I Am. And the great I Am saying, I am right here, I am with you, and I love you. And I am now giving you a collision of heaven and earth just to say, I exist. I am here. Come closer. And I'm hoping in these stories that it might, ring a memory for you, something that's been forgotten or that you kind of blew off as just a coincidence, and maybe it wasn't. I have Joni, Miranda, and Daryl with their 3 stories. We'll start with Joni. She was back in episode 116 as well, but something just recently happened, this gift from nowhere that involves a miraculous medal. And if you're not familiar with what those are, we'll give you a little description. But it has to do, in fact, I have my miraculous medal on as well, right next to my gift from nowhere. So let's just start with Joni here on Touched by Heaven, Everyday Encounters with God.
Well, it's just interesting. A couple weeks ago, the way I live, I'm kind of a minimalist. I don't like clutter. So my house is fairly neat. And I have a bowl right outside my kitchen. And, I'll put my sunglasses in it. My rosary is in it. But the other morning I got up and there was all this change. There were like a lot of dimes. But on top of the dimes was a miraculous metal necklace. And I didn't think a lot of it. I mean, I grabbed the necklace, I put it on, and I thought, wow, this is cool. A miraculous metal necklace, a very strong change, and the miraculous metal on it.
And yeah, I hear it now. You have it on.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Well, but you didn't know where it came from.
Trapper, I have no idea where it came from. I don't wear jewelry. I don't have jewelry in the house. I don't have anything in that bowl. And it's a decorative bowl that I walk past about 100 times a day. Like I said, I put sunglasses in it but that day I woke up and there's like 12 or 13 dimes and this miraculous metal necklace is sitting on top of it.
So you're going through your head, I'm imagining. Are you going through your head, wait, who else has been in the house? Who else would use this? Yes? No?
I've been thinking about this for 2 weeks, because It's like, well, the only person who comes into my house is my daughter. And so I asked my daughter and I said, did you drop off a necklace when you were here a couple days ago? And she's like, well, no, Mom, no. Why would I do that? I'm going, now, wait a minute. This is crazy. I must have, what? Why would I have this? And I still can't figure it out. And I'll claim it as a miracle. And the other thing is, Trapper, I know I didn't own a necklace like this because I asked for one for Christmas. So when the pandemic started, I lost both my part-time jobs. So I got into prayer more. And I did a Marian consecration, consecrate myself to Jesus through Mary.
Right.
And it was wonderful. And I thought, after I did that, I would like a miraculous medal. And so I got it as a Christmas gift because it was one of the gifts just this past Christmas.
Okay.
So it's the first time that I've owned one. Otherwise, I would not have asked for one for Christmas. So for Christmas, my daughter gave me another Marian consecration book. And I thought, I want to do this before Lent starts. So I started it like the first week of January. It's 33 days, ended it before Lent. Consecrating myself to Jesus through Mary is powerful for me.
It was life-changing for me. Somebody hit the accelerator on the car. That's all I know. I always say it's great if you want to walk to church. If you want Mary to pick you up in a vet and take you there, high power, high speed to Jesus, there's nothing. It's starting with the rosary and then going to the consecration to Jesus through Mary. She speeds it up and takes you to Jesus like you can't believe. That was my experience also.
Yeah, and to me, it's clarity on how to live. It is quiet, humble, extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
This bowl that I found this in, it's just a quiet little humble bowl. But now I see it as extraordinary.
Okay, take me through this again. Last November, who do you ask for this gift?
I asked my mother-in-law because she says, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I don't like clutter. I don't like stuff. I like things meaningful. And I said, you know what? I would like a miraculous metal necklace.
Okay. And there's all kinds of price ranges for that kind of thing. I mean, you can spend a buck or two, 50 cents, or you can spend lots of money depending on the quality of, obviously, of the metal and the necklace and all that. So,
right.
So as a Christmas gift, I assume she gets you, I assume, kind of a nice metal and necklace, yes?
Well, it's lovely. Yeah, it's lovely. It's brand new. It's
okay.
Lovely. And she gave me a cross with it, so I have the cross and the miraculous medal.
Beautiful. Okay, so you have your gift. When do you start your consecration of Jesus through Mary? When does that begin? Ending up on the 33rd day. Usually comes out on a Marian day, on a Mary day.
Well, I started it a little early because I figured I was going to mess it up and skip a day. So I started it about January 7th, ended up, it was one of the Feast of Fatima in like February 9th. Feast of Lourdes.
That's Lourdes, yeah. That's Lourdes.
Feast of Lourdes.
Okay.
So I finished up like February 9th.
Okay.
Because I wanted to get that out of the way before Lent started because,
Gotcha. Okay. And then what day is Bowl Day?
1, 2, 3. It could have been March 1st. It's like this stuff happens, but it's not like there's this shiny thing coming down going, you are looking at a miracle. It was like, what, and it took me a week to go, what is, where, what, why?
Because you found out it wasn't from your daughter, and you have a miraculous, the entire necklace, the medal, and dimes. How many dimes are in your bowl?
There were 12 or 13. And again, I went, what is change doing in my...
I'm guessing 12. On the back of your miraculous medal, you'll notice there are 12 stars representing the 12 apostles. There's a couple of hearts, one representing the Immaculate Heart of Mary, one the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Let's see, you've got rays coming down. Do you know the story of the miraculous medal?
I don't know it.
Okay.
No.
So back in 1830, I may mess up some of this, 1830, Mary appeared to St. Catherine of Labouré, I believe is how it's pronounced. Different people pronounce it different ways. Back in 1830, she was in France, and she said, "Okay, here's what you're going to make this medal. You're going to have this medal made," and she showed her what it was supposed to look like with these rays coming down from her fingers, and I think rings or something. Special graces to people who wear it, especially those who wear it around their neck. And I don't know if you can see the little teeny tiny words across the top, having recourse to you. Can you see any of those words?
Well, it's on my neck, so.
Having a recourse. In other words, we can go to Mary, and she gives us special graces. And I'm trying to think what else is on there. Different things represent different things on there. And so, we I don't know if you've heard any of the episodes. I haven't done one for a while. You'll be the first one in a while that talks about these special things that happen with the miraculous medal and these kind of, and obviously this is pretty miraculous. Now the dimes, okay, 12. Did anyone just recently pass away?
No.
December,
That's what
January?
I'm saying. I look at these dimes as like more of a distraction because I can't put that together. But I'm like, why would dimes be in this bowl that I never keep money in?
Well, dimes, we just recently, did you hear Average Joe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's just kind of a heavenly hi, how are you? A lot of times it's associated with someone who's just recently passed. Quality-wise, equal to, less than, greater than the one you got as a gift at Christmas?
It's larger.
It's larger.
It's larger. There's a little tarnish on it.
Interesting.
It's not that the brand new one is shinier, where this one's a little, but it is a larger size.
Did you ask for anything in particular at your consecration? Any special prayers to Mary of late, or?
No, but when I do pray, I say, let me see you. Do you hear me? Do you see me? Show me that you see me. Show me that you hear me.
Okay, so obviously she is.
And today is the feast day of the Annunciation.
Yep, Mary got pregnant on this day, and 9 months from today, she's going to have a baby named Jesus. Yeah, you got your Jesus happening. So
Right.
no coincidence that we're talking on the Annunciation. I didn't plan it to be on the Annunciation. You contacted me. We kind of went back and forth. I wasn't even thinking Annunciation or anything. Just this was the day, and no coincidence there either.
But I also told you that I'm widowed twice, and one husband died on the Miracle of the Sun, and the other husband died on the Feast of the Ascension of Mary.
Or the Assumption, August 15th.
The Assumption.
Yeah.
Ascension.
No, Ascension is Jesus. The Assumption is Mary.
The Assumption. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. God's power versus, Jesus ascended because it was his own power that could do that. Mary was assumed because that was the power of God bringing her up into heaven, body and soul. Interesting. Yeah. Well. Yeah. So your first husband died on October 13th.
Right.
Okay. Fatima, October 13th, 1917. Huge miracle. 75,000 people, 100,000 people saw this incredible biggest public miracle in the world, as far as I know. A lot of people were healed that day. The mud ground was suddenly dry, and suns dancing all over the place, reported by the media, even the atheist media. Pretty big day. A huge Marian day, huge Mary day. And then the second, your husband was August 15th. He died.
The Assumption.
Wow.
On the Assumption of Mary. And I didn't know it. It's just that, like, he died overnight, and it was like, I got to go to daily mass. I got to go to morning mass. And it was packed. And I thought, why is it packed? But it was the Assumption of Mary, so it was a holy day.
And you took time to go to mass.
What else would you do?
Not everybody does something like that. Okay.
No, that's the only thing I wanted to do. I just knew I needed, I needed to be in church.
All right. Well, Joni, you're obviously very devoted. You're listening. You're saying, show me yourself, and you're getting the miraculous medal and dimes. That's kind of a heaven message too. It's all heaven. I think that's remarkable.
I keep going back to quiet, humble, extraordinary. And that's a way to live a life. That's the way Mary lived. My bowl is a quiet, humble bowl, but now it's extraordinary. And I think, and that's also the way we stamp out evil. Quiet, humble, extraordinary.
Beautiful. And that's a huge job of Mary. She loves, her whole thing about, rosary is our greatest spiritual weapon, as she said, crushing that head, of the serpent.
Right. So I was at Mass this morning, and they were reading the gospel. And Mary's first reaction to the angel was fear, where the angel says, Mary, fear not. So I think a lot of times in our life, we're in a situation where our first reaction is fear. And then we step back and say, fear not. That's just the way she lived her life is the way we need to live our lives.
And there you are with your miraculous medal and a necklace and dimes going, what the heck? Well, she did what you asked her to do.
I think so. It's beautiful.
Did you tell mother-in-law about this?
Not yet.
Oh, you haven't told her?
Well, you're one of my first ones, Trapper. A lot of times these stories, as you know through your podcast, aren't always received well. And so your podcast is such a blessing that we can put these out there for the people who will believe.
Mm-hmm.
Because it took me 2 weeks to go, where did this come from? And trying to make sense of it. And when things happen like this, I don't want to be proud. I don't want to be bragging, but I do. So that's where your platform comes in handy.
Yeah, and it's not bragging. It's just, look what God did today. He just keeps speaking. On our website, we talk about what did God say today. And it's like, this is what he said today. On the Feast of the Annunciation, as we record this is what he's saying today. Mary is very real. The miraculous medal and its graces are very real. God is communicating with us all the time. We all wish that he would do it more. Why doesn't he do this? Someone's going, well, why didn't he do that to me? Why didn't he do that to me? Because he didn't, because you're supposed to hear it this way. I don't know. He's communicating with you in another way, in a different way.
Well, it's very personal.
Yeah.
It's just very personal. But the Holy Spirit that was with Mary back then is still with us today.
Yep.
It's just going to look different. It shines up different, but we have to claim it. Like Mary pondered things in her heart. Mm-hmm. That's what I've been doing with this. So it gives me a lot of personal strength, private strength, It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I know. I have one around my neck too, and I tend to. I should never forget that she's there. But necklaces can be like that, when you don't take them off. And so she's always there. She's right next to Saint Leo, because I got a little miracle of Saint Leo. That's why I was just reminded of this story. I just got chills. Okay, here's why I just got reminded of this. 2 years ago, I spoke on the Feast of the Annunciation at our local church, Saint Leo the Great. And shortly before, like a couple of weeks before, I told my wife Elizabeth, I said I don't know where my miraculous medal is, and I said, could you go give it a look? And she went to look wherever she went to look. I'm the blind guy here, so she went and she came back. She said, yeah, I found it. And I said, okay, good. She said, but it was right next to something else you may want to know about. And I said, okay. She said, I found it next to this box, little white box. And inside is a medal, another medal. I said, yeah. And she said, it's the medal of St. Leo the Great, where you're going to be speaking. And she said, on the box, it says St. Leo the Great, patron saint of speakers.
Ooh.
And it's like, I'm getting chills again. It's like, what? I'm going, I said, do you have any recollection of us having that in the house? She goes, I have no idea where this came from. So not unlike your story of the bowl, right there next to my miraculous medal was this box, and St. Leo the Great, patron saint of speakers, as I was preparing to talk on Feast of the Annunciation 2 years ago today, and St. Leo the Great. So we both have our own individual story, Mary/St. Leo. The saints. It's the saints. They're listening. They're with us. They're praying for us. They're on our side. They reflect the sun, as we say. That's what saints do. They're like the moon, reflecting the sun, the light of the sun. So there you go.
Right. It's beautiful. So thank you. Thank you for what you do, Trapper.
Thanks again, Joni. A miraculous medal, necklace, and dimes. All right. And if you subscribe to our weekly newsletter, you'll see some links to some other miraculous medal stories, further explanation, and things like that. And if you're not getting our newsletter, just come here to episode 155, click Stay Informed, and we'll throw out some other stories that happen in this Touched by Heaven universe. And this gives me a chance to kind of replay something that I just think is so darn cute from last week's episode. Jessica Bell and her two kids, Canaan age 4 and Kellen age 2, when my wife Elizabeth had sent out to them their own personal miraculous medals. Kind of a thank you in the Patreon world.
I got something for you boys.
What?
Open it up and see what it is.
We tear it open?
Yep, tear it open on the back. What is it? What is it? Do you know who that is?
Mary.
It's Mary.
He knows. That's pretty. A 4-year-old, I wouldn't have had a clue.
Trapper.
Thank you, Mr. Trapper.
Oh.
Say thank you, Miss Elizabeth.
There you go.
Thank you, Miss Whiffet. We love you.
That's just so cute. Thank you so much, Jessica, for sending that in. And welcome to the group. Welcome to Patreon there, Kellen and Canaan. Thanks so much. Elizabeth and I just feel so blessed that you feel blessed by these podcast episodes. So thank you for blessing us with your support at patreon.com. Just search for Trapper Jack, or you can come here to episode 154, and there's a Patreon link that way as well. But thank you so much. Love it. Thanks again, guys. My Patreon shout out this week goes to Joe Ellen Can. Thanks, Joe Ellen, for helping us out on a monthly basis at patreon.com. Now then, a second story today. Miranda. I tell everybody I interview, I never know when I'm going to use these stories. It could be next week. It could be next year. This is the next year. It was almost exactly 1 year ago. I was talking to Miranda and getting her story. And this week, it just comes bouncing back at me because, again, a gift from nowhere. And it involves her wonderful grandfather that she called Poppy. And it also involves buckeyes. Here in the state of Ohio, lots of buckeye trees. This, if you're not familiar with buckeyes, they fall from a tree. And ruin lawnmowers. They're the size of, about a walnut, dark-colored, smooth. But it involves buckeyes, and her grandfather loved buckeyes.
Hi. So crazy to be talking to you.
Crazy. It's nutty. It's wacky. It's just,
yes.
All those things. In Columbus, hey, it's not too often I get someone so close. This is good.
I know. I think that's part of the reason I called, telling you about my grandpa. So growing up, he's the most amazing man ever. I mean, I've never met anyone like him. Since he passed. I don't think I ever will. He was an FBI agent. He had to leave his job for a while to go to World War II. He was in the Navy and then came back and continued being an FBI agent. I guess the years that he was in the FBI, it was that you had to retire at 50. And there was no way he was going to stop working. So he went to night school and got his law degree and became a lawyer. And he was a lawyer until 3 months before he passed from pancreatic cancer. And actually, what's crazy? It was April 25th, 1999 that he passed.
Well, anniversary today.
Yes, that's crazy.
It's like it was meant to be or something here.
Yeah, I just realized that. Oh my gosh.
Well, there you go. See?
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
It's only a 365 to 1 shot, so that's pretty good odds,
Yeah. We were very close family. He was kind of like, the linchpin of the family. He ran everything. This was my mom's dad. So and I'll just call him Poppy. We called him Poppy, and he loved it. So Poppy was basically a father to my dad. I just remember spending so much time with him, and he always gave me his full attention. And I remember he loved nature. We would go on hikes, and he would say, look at this. One thing I remember clearly was he picked, it was just a dandelion, and he picked it and he said, look at how intricate this is. God made everything so intricate and special that you can see his glory and his work in just the tiniest things. And that always stuck with me.
How do you not see the creation in that,
Yeah. And the fact that, he took the time to, pick out those little things and share that with me was really special to me. Another reason that I was closer to him than most of the other grandkids was because when I was 13, I was diagnosed with depression that was severe enough that I had to be hospitalized. And when I got out of the hospital, for a while, I didn't go back to school, but I couldn't be alone. So he took me to work with him every day. And I remember I would go to the law, go to the courthouse with him and visit his clients with him. And he never made it awkward, like there was anything wrong with me. He was always just like, okay, let's do this together, and we would eat lunch together. I remember I wanted a hot dog, and he's like, no, you get more for your money if you get a bratwurst. It's the same thing, but it's more. And he was always so kind and understanding. And I think that spending that time together when I was a teenager just really solidified the bond between us. There's a big buckeye tree in front of his house. And he wasn't like a sports watcher or anything like that. He just loved nature. So every time my sister and I would visit, he would pick each one of us a buckeye. And when we were little and we couldn't do it ourselves, he would peel it because they have that thick shell over them and, be a nice shiny buckeye. And he'd give one to each of us. When I just saw a buckeye, I think of him. So I was 19 when he passed. And so it was very, very difficult for me. After that, every time I had high school graduation, and then I got married and college graduation. And each time, there was just a part of me that would think, oh, well, I wish my Poppy was here to share this with me. He'd be so proud. I wonder what he'd say, Well, I got married in 2002. And then in July 2003, I had my daughter, who is 16 now. She's going to be 17 in this July. And I kept thinking, well, I wish Poppy were here. He would have been so excited to have a great grandchild. This would have been his first great grandchild. So about 2 months later, she was probably about 2 to 3 months old. My husband and I drove to West Virginia to visit his grandma so we could show her Estella. And we went into her house and we were all standing in the kitchen, and I was like, oh, here's her birth announcement. It was this beautiful bright pink card with a picture of Estella on it, with her the date of her birth and weight and length and everything. And his grandma was like, "Oh, thank you." And she just sets it on the kitchen counter. And then we go into the living room to visit. And it's just me and my husband and Estella and his grandma. And it's been like about an hour, and I was like, I better check her diaper. So I get up and go out through the kitchen to go to the car to get a diaper. I guess I left them in there. I noticed just this buckeye sitting in the middle of the kitchen counter, nothing around it. And I look and I see it's exactly where my husband's grandma had set down the birth announcement, but the birth announcement wasn't there anymore. And I look all around the counter. There's no birth announcement. There's no other buckeye. There's nothing else on the counters. It's just that one buckeye. And it just hit me. It's like, Poppy knew. Poppy's telling me he knows he has a great-grandchild and he's happy.
Well, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
It is.
No birth announcement, just a buckeye.
Yeah. And we were in West Virginia, not Ohio. So we weren't in the Buckeye State anymore.
Thanks, Miranda. I'm picturing the stunned silence as she walks to the kitchen and just, what? All three of these stories, the stunned silence, when at some point it's just, whoa, a gift from nowhere. Story number 3 involves Daryl.
Hello, this is Daryl.
And this is your other brother, Daryl. I think I interviewed Daryl 2 years ago. It's been a while, but this story stuck in my mind, just waiting for the moment. It was a gift from nowhere. He had just lost his dad. His dad had hearing issues. They both found God about the same time in their lives. Daryl went the Catholic way. Dad went the Protestant way. And they had many a discussion. And Dad was never quite okay with his son's decision. So Daryl always has felt that when his dad passed, he really came to the realization once he was in the arms of Christ that we're all on the same team. We really are all on the same team. So here was Daryl's gift from nowhere. After his dad had passed, funeral was in the San Francisco Bay Area. Daryl lives in Idaho. So he's going up the West Coast, up to Portland, then hanging a right and heading for Idaho. And it was on the road that he got his gift from nowhere.
I had a portrait of my father perched to the door, passenger door, looking at me. It was a headshot, shoulder shot, him in a tuxedo. He was very good looking. And I kept him there to keep me company, and I was now talking to him. He's now in the presence of God, I had no doubt. But after reaching Portland and I'm turning east, as I said, I was really, really tired. I probably should have pulled over. The good Lord saw something because he knew I wasn't going to pull over. But he saw fit to give me a miracle. I'm flipping through the radio here, dial, and there's hardly any stations coming in. I'm now 40 miles east of Portland, and there's just not much. The radio stations are coming and going. And boom, I hear it lands, scanning. It lands right on what I presume to be a religious station. And I hear the rosary being sung by a male and a female, kind of going back and forth, male, female, doing the decades. And I'm thinking, wow, this sounds beautiful. I never heard this on the radio. Okay, this is cool. I'm listening to it. This is so beautiful. It's perking me up. I start to cry profusely because I'm feeling the presence of God. And I knew at that moment, my father, who passed away, not knowing the Catholicism faith, not knowing if I was saved, but believing now that I am saved, and he is now restored his hearing, and he is now listening in the presence of 2 angels singing this rosary, and he is in awe, and God gave me a chance to listen to that in awe. I'm listening to the same thing my father's listening to, and it shook me to the core. This, as you're aware of, the complete rosary, if you want to pray about it, decently, it takes a good 20 or 30 minutes. You sing it, kind of slowly, it's probably longer. I don't recall how long it was. It was long. It just picked me up and took me all the way home. I was so excited. I got home like 2 or 3 in the morning, and it never broke. I'm driving, 40 miles, maybe 50 away from Portland, and the radio station never broke up or nothing. Oh, that's the funny thing. As soon as it was over, it was dead air. It's like, I love that radio station. I want to hear that again. Where is it? Where'd it go? It's gone.
You sure that wasn't just
nice.
for you? Maybe that was just for you.
It was just for me. It was for me and my father.
Yeah.
It was something wonderful. I'll never forget that.
Thanks, Daryl. I think you have a radio station that doesn't exist. That's what I think. I think that is a serious gift from nowhere. Like that. And Buckeyes from Miranda, and miraculous medals, necklaces, and dimes from Joni. Great stories. And reminders again. Did anything click with you? Anything click? Coincidence? Something forgotten maybe ring a little bell in there in your mind of just when God has said hi to you? A little collision of heaven and earth? I hope so. I hope something kind of rang true for you. And I hope that if you have a story for me, you will contact me here at touchedbyheaven.net. Gifts from nowhere, but we know where that nowhere is. Thank you so much for your stories. And see, you never know when your story may bubble up. You just never know. And also a reminder that, and the Miraculous Medal reminded me that if you want to know more about Mary, I got Mary stories you may not have heard before on a CD, or you can download it. Just come here to episode 155, Mary, His Messenger. And here at episode 155 is also the place to click through to patreon.com. Or go there directly, patreon.com, search for Trapper Jack, and thank you so much for your monthly support. We appreciate it. All right, hope to see you again here next week for more stories in this Touched by Heaven universe here at Touched by Heaven. Everyday encounters with God. I'm Trapper Jack.